Yeah, well, I don't take the jelly. So wrong again, my man. This is
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's been a weekend and I forgot how to do happy hour live.
Yeah.
Hey, man, how was your weekend?
Good. You know, I'm trying to move things around here in the studio.
Yeah, I
and,
saw that. I saw you got the background TV behind you.
Yeah. That we're trying to figure out, but the new camera position is higher, so I can do the standing up stuff for the politics streams. And then we're looking at a few other things to kind of like continue to make things cool and hip and fun
For the kids, since because god damn it, there's no plane travel coming.
Yeah. I mean, there's it's been a pretty productive couple weeks, productive couple maybe now months, but really the idea of like, all right, let me just build a virtual home and like do some kind of overdue things, like just kind of bringing consistent branding to all the politics stuff. Like there's politics streams and there's the politics podcast and there's the politics newsletter, and let's put an actual sheen on all of that as we kind of head into these final 100 days of the election.
Man,
probably shit I should have done 2 years ago in hindsight, but better late than never.
No, I mean, it's good that you're doing that. I mean, it's not for the reason you would prefer, but done is done for whatever reason. So guess what? So let me set the scene. Friday, I believe it's Friday. No, it might have been Thursday. This is by the way, the spoiler alert. The ending of this story is Corey understands.
Brian can't tell times.
Yes, correct. Is that Corey knows how to nudge the Brian engine, and he's smart about it. He hands me a Galaxy. S7 or what? I don't speak Android. Galaxy something 7. And he says to me, there are 2 apps on here. One is the camera, and then the other, don't worry about. All you have to do is press record. The moment you stop recording, it will automatically upload to a Microsoft One or Live One, whatever the cloud backup hosting is, and we'll take it from there. Can you guess why this is happening?
I mean, I know you guys are about to go into a big Modern Rogue shoot, so I would guess that.
Nope. It's because Bonnie found out that I still haven't fulfilled the 300 plus requests for video shout outs from the founders. And she was so horrified. And she made her horror very clear to Corey. And she was like, you will not be a promise breaker. And it's like, well, I did this one and then I have to FTP it and it takes like 5 minutes for each one. And so Corey designs this system where it's like, last night it's so easy. I wait till sunset and then I carve out, about an hour. And I just go down the list, and I'm doing cameos. And all I have to do is hit record and make sure that the first words out of my mouth are the name of the person.
Hey, name.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly. And then so they know where to send it. So I for all of our, I guess, mocking cameo, that's going to be a major part of my life because those motherfuckers take time. It takes time. And more time than you would like to pronounce a name and learn it right and do a thing and sing all night.
By the way, for the record, when we've talked about Patreon a bunch and we've given advice to our friends on Patreon, the reason why I have always, as somebody who makes money on the platform, prefer a weekly charging system is exactly for this reason. Because when you just have passive money showing up, then the band of those deadlines seem a lot more fungible, right?
Yeah.
And you got your money up front. You asked people for money. You got the money up front. That money that money specifically has long since been
Invested,
in and
yeah.
out
Well,
and invested.
And plus also, they were all promised a rock. These are all people, like we sent out a survey to 1,000 people who invested or who donated, and the basically the question was, check one.
You want
of
a
the,
rock or a shout out?
Yeah, exactly. Or nothing, or it's like, don't give me nothing. 1/3 said, don't give me nothing. 1/3 said, give me a video shout out. 1/3 said, I want my rock. And so we've already sent out all the rocks because people who are not Brian are able to do that. Unfortunately, there's only one person that could do the video thank you. And so, but I'm excited because all of a sudden it took me, all of Golden Hour to do like 3 of them and upload them to the FTP or whatever. But then this system, it's like, I don't know, I burned through like 12 last night. It was really exciting. Unfortunately, 12 is not 350.
300.
Yeah. Which,
but 12 a day, you carve it out, you make it a thing you do during Golden Hour, and that'll be, you'll be eating into that before you know it.
yeah, and it is kind of fun in its own way. They're short. I mean, it's like all of a sudden I realize, like, at first I'm doing like, I'm trying to Andy Dick my way through this, giving them, a full routine or whatever. But then I'm just like, this is not possible at these numbers. And so now they're like 30 to 45
hey man,
seconds.
What's going on?
Yeah.
You're the best. I went over to places where things were the best, and you were the #1 seller. Love you.
Yeah.
Boop.
Yeah.
Hey everybody.
that's pretty much that's gonna be my downtime for a little bit, and it's like, and I want to make it, they were kind enough to donate for the property, so it's like I want, I don't want these to be the shot, the fat Rick Santorum looking down,
Yeah.
like, hey man, anyway, thanks, beep. Hey man, anyway, thanks, beep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make them look good.
You want it to look good. Yeah. No, I hear you. Like, I think that's to be honest, I think, if you're just even walking around the property and you could just fucking do them while you're walking, and that way you're like, hey, this is what you helped build. Like, this is why the property is special and you're a part of it. Like,
Yeah.
that's,
I guess I should just put it on a tripod. That would make it a lot smoother. Because the problem is it's an old enough phone that it doesn't have the jitter correction that you get from the newer stuff.
get one of them there selfie sticks.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we can go for that.
Yeah.
But
I think if you had a selfie stick and you're walking around the woods there, and you're by the gazebo, and you're by the sound stage and everything, like, that's, I think, because really it's like, all right, from the perspective of people who are getting them, what do you want? Brian to say your name. Cool. You can do that. But like, at its most efficient, you're like, hey, Alex, it's Brian. Beep. Hey, Alan, it's Brian. Beep. Right. So you don't necessarily just want that. You want something a little bit more.
Yo, shout out to, looks at notes, Alex, beep.
Yeah. Right.
I'm
so
told somebody here has a birthday.
Yeah. So you can then, your natural instinct, as it was, like you were explaining it, is to do like a full fucking, you want to do your full magic show. You're starting off with like, hello, Alan, like the history of fire eating. Like, but that is unsustainable because you can't do your magic show 300 times. So what you want is the fastest way you give the most special thing. And so now that's what I would say, literally just lap around your property. And that way, all of them are different. All of them have their own little part. And everybody who gets it that now wants to be, they want to be there at the property. Not only.
That's pretty good. I didn't think about making them all different and walking around. So then, okay, so I'll grab the tripod next time and make that part of it.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, just keep, like, literally fucking loop like 3 or 4 times. And now not only are they hearing you, but they have their own part of the property.
Yeah.
Like they want to find their part where they first saw
video
behind the
happened.
scenes. Yeah. I think that it makes the place special. It makes them feel good that they help create the place. It makes and that can be fucking 45 seconds as long as it's the right 45
Well,
seconds.
especially because I'm walking around anyway.
Yeah. And you're like, hey, what's going on, man? Like, I'm here. So just so you know, when you come to the property, there are 2 main lines that leave, and we're about, 2 minutes from the main thing on this center path. It's super great. It looks like haunted, crazy shit has happened here. Maybe it did. Anyway, man, I can't wait to show you this in person. Bye.
It is, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer because it's like I'm walking around with a full on, clipboard, and I'm like, I'm this far down the list. It's all the way over here.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, really, people just they want you to Walt Disney it. They want you to explain either what this is or what this will be, but like why they're a part of it. The more you can sell, and not even sell because it's fucking there. It's not like you're trying to.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is all. I mean, I don't want to give them the same. They're like, yeah, I heard this. That's why I gave you money. Like that's what I don't want to do. I want to say, I want to focus more on the thank you than on the. Well, although I guess where it went to is.
I mean, look, yeah, I think it's thank you. Here's where we are on the property right now as I record all these. This one is yours. I can't wait for you to see it when you come here. Like,
yeah,
that's the like, cool. You get a personal fucking connection to some physical part of that property. This is you finding those places, and the out is eventually you're going to come here, and now. That's an even more magical concept than it was when you actually did this, because now the concept of going to a strange place is like, oh my God, imagine the world we'll live in.
Yeah. So I got for the first time, maybe since February, there's been a lot of talk. There's still talk about, guests. Originally, we had, I don't know, like a half dozen, maybe a dozen guests booked, planning to fly out and be on Scam Nation and be on Modern Rogue and stay on the property. Like the system as it was designed to work was working. And then COVID hit, and all of a sudden it was like all bets were off. I got my very first email since all this started, where somebody said, hey, I have an idea for an episode. And I was like, oh, yeah, can we do that remotely? And he came back with, I don't know. I mean, like, it seems like it'd be better in person. How soon are, you comfortable with me coming back and being there in person? Like,
yeah,
nobody had spoken those words or any version of those words to me in 6 months now? 6 months. 6 months. Isn't that weird?
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was, right? Beginning of March was when everything really went haywire.
Well, and now in Austin, for the moment, and there may be a crunch or whatever, but those drive-through tests, man, easy peasy. Within, Heaton and I say we should get tested. 3 hours later, we got our results. It happened live on the air right here. $99, drive through. Get a poke in the nose and you're done. And I'll tell you what, man, makes all parties feel a lot better about everything.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, and 100's, I mean, especially if you're building it in for business, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's $100 planetary indulgence to fucking, like, I'm not saying that they're fake, but like literally if they were and you were just like $100 from the fucking Pope to say that your business can go, you'd be like, yeah, indeed, your papal see. Please take this donation.
I'm like, dude, that's the cost of a flight change. It's like, yes, I am down. Let's just assume every single person who came in, I had to pay for a flight change. Then cool.
Oh, good God, yeah. Well, I mean, so I know there's a lot of, you have maintained a social bubble there for the staff that works there, right? Like
Yeah.
John and Bryce and Corey, not to mention you and Bonnie and Josie would probably be the ones that are there the most,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
Like you have already done that, so I can on one side that's good because you have a functioning business still. On the other side, it's like, oh wait, like now there's a lot of other vectors to bringing in new people, like to figure all that out. So it's like I can only imagine that it's good that a guest is like, hey, I'm into this idea. It's a whole nother thing to figure out, like, oh, when does the bubble, like, when is the bubble ready for that? When is all that going to come together?
Yeah, it's interesting. I suppose like there's no pulling people in this situation. Like it's like the moment everything really hit, it's like there's no universe in which I pressure people to come here. All I could do is wait, and eventually, hopefully, the pressure to come in will start to happen. And we saw the very first leak in the very first email with the very first question of when can I come?
Yeah.
So how available is testing? What is testing like over in Oakland now? Is it immediate or?
So when I came back from Tulsa, I took 2 tests. One was a free test from Baseline, which is a Google subsidiary or Alphabet subsidiary. And then when I found out that the hotel that I was decamped at, right around the corner, right around the corner, there was an immediate test, like one where you get your results in 15 minutes. I was like, let's figure that one out, because otherwise I'm just sitting here waiting. And there was still also the idea of like, well, like, can you take the test too fast? Like, is there a time in which, like, you know, it's not going to get caught? Because like I fly back on Sunday and then I take the Baseline test on Monday, but
it needed more time to simmer. You pulled out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, and nor, you know, there was the initial guidelines were, oh, wait a week or whatever. Well, first it was like, don't go get a test unless you have symptoms. And then it was like, all right, well, wait a week. And then it was like, wait 48 hours. So I don't know. It's like, I was before 48 hours, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I got fucking bored and antsy. And I was like, well, I'm sitting here not doing shit, like going crazy, thinking every chill that I'm feeling is COVID and I'm going to die alone in this thing, or that like I'm going to be out another $1,000 because I am going to be in this hotel room for God knows how long.
Yeah, man. Hotels are not cheap in that area.
They're not. And the place that I went was cheap. Like it was actually like a cheaper thing because of how it was set up. But long story short, I wound up just going to this other place and got the test and I was clean. And literally, like, I texted Ashley, like, clean? Am I good to come home? She's like, yes. And I'm like, like, I was the fuck out of that hotel room. I got that test at like 11. And the next thing I had to do was be on DTNS at 1. And I was on DTNS like at 1. So like, I just grabbed my shit.
How much later did the other test come in?
Thursday was when I did the immediate test, and the other test that I took on Monday came in on Saturday.
Holy crap.
So it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 6 days, which is like, you know, I mean, considering we basically took a lab system that was built to run a fraction of these tests a day, or just tests, any kind of tests a day. And we've basically we've ramped it up to like 800 plus thousand per day. And so the backbone to it, like, was just gonna get strained, and we're probably gonna wind up building a lot more test facilities from here on, and they'll just be there.
It really feels like the old lab, 6 days per results or whatever. Like, man, I remember the iPhone 1.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the new test.
Well, I guess that's the thing, is that now, the instant tests have X amount of kickback on accuracy or whatever, and I don't know. It's its own thing, but eventually we're just gonna. I mean, the pathway we're going is like the CVS branded knockoff test where you spit on a stick and it either is like a green dancing COVID germ or like a gigantic thumbs up.
Somebody suggested something so terrible that I'm convinced it must exist. We did the magic trick that involves the fake lottery scratch off ticket, right?
Yes.
Somebody brought up the idea of a fake novelty pregnancy test.
Yes.
Does it exist?
I think we looked for it, didn't we? I think we did this before.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, we did. Okay.
I think we found it. Yeah.
Yeah. God, it's so
Yeah.
fake COVID tests.
Fake COVID test. At a certain point, that'll be funny. I don't know if 2020 is going to be that year, but at a certain point, it's going to be funny. It'll be very funny.
No, I did. And by the way, people in the chat are saying, "Didn't you come up with this?" I have no doubt that I took credit for coming up with it, and I also have no doubt that I stole it from the chat. Like that's how this works. This is our agreement.
This is how it goes.
This is our covenant.
So I decided to go on a bit of an odyssey, Brian.
Yeah.
The podcast app that I have is really good at just like loading a bunch of shit in there because it's like a playlist. And so like normally, like if I'm listening to a lot of podcasts, then I'll just go through all the things and I'll just have nothing in there. So I was like, you know what I should do is just load up a ton of some old shit, like some old thing that I hadn't listened to, just so I'll never be without. Like for a while, my backstop was Dan Carlin's Supernova in the East, whatever the second most recent one, where it's like I would just be out of a podcast and I would just be greeted by the like, the Japanese had never had this kind of like, look, like I was never happy to be out of podcast because it just meant that I got to hang out with Dan Carlin again. But I was out of that. And so I decided to go back to the oldest posted Harmontowns and just listen to, I'd never listened to the super old, the Dan was fired era of
how
Harmontown.
far back do they go? Because I only have on my iCatcher, I have as far back as I was able to find, I think was episode 50 or whatever. And before that, they become like, unauthorized bootlegs or something.
The ones I got were from 2012.
All right, let me see how far.
But it's very much Dan upset about being fired, and very much not the same show as it eventually became. Certainly no Spencer. They keep making mention that they have been a live show for a long time, but it seemed like this was...
I do have that one, and I'm seeing all these blue dots. Oh, there's so many Harmontowns I've not listened to. What am I in for?
A lot more engagement from Jeff Davis. One thing has become clear, that the longer that show went on, the more Jeff could either be dialed in or not dialed in. And part of that, I think, was making room for Spencer, because Spencer was such a huge part of the show. But like in those early episodes, Jeff Davis is he knows he has to carry half the show. And that is clear in a way that was not once Spencer was there, and it became a little bit more of an ensemble, and there were guests kind of constantly coming on. He was really just there to be like the specialty 3-point guy, where it was like he could just come in with the fucking killer one-liner and then recede to the back as other chatter kind of went on. And a very interesting relationship of Aaron McGathy and Dan Harmon, which like I know as a fan of the show, it evolves into marriage and then devolves into her just leaving the country and then evolves into them getting a divorce and him dating somebody else. So man, is it it's very funny though.
I mean, I guess what I'm really asking is, I had thought that I was saving one last episode, which is the very last episode they released, titled Ad Nauseum. It's a collection of all the improvised ads that Spencer and Jeff Davis did with the music bit, and they released it as a Christmas gift and a so long bit. I've not listened to it because it's always been like, someday I'm just gonna want one more bit of Harmontown, and that's gonna be it. You've kind of blown my mind that sitting on my phone is so much of that rich history, but I'm kind of like you. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm fearful of who everybody was back then and how I'll feel about them.
Oh no, it's good. It's good. I mean, it's definitely it's interesting to see Dan Harmon at the moment of like, I mean, it's funny. He even makes mention because they do a lot of audience Q&A. That's like the majority of the episodes is they just had a Q&A bucket and people would ask questions. And so there's a lot of like him like answering like, why were you fired? Why do you think you were fired from the show? And Jeff asking him like, why do you think you were fired from the show? And like him giving like honest answers to it. But at some point he's talking about, he's giving advice for television writers. And he was like, his advice was don't be too married to your idea, because like Community wasn't Community because everybody had crazy jobs or whatever. It was a fairly stock premise that then could go in crazy directions. And he's like, well, I guess like sci-fi or fantasy, the concept probably matters a lot more, but I've never pitched anything like sci-fi or anything like that, which is funny because he then wound up making so much more money on Rick and Morty than he ever did on Community because it's sci-fi.
There really is an arc to all of that. And I mean, if you look at everything as a whole, I mean, there were still some, I don't know, wildfire episodes on the side near the end, like when he got entirely too drunk and didn't take his Adderall and tried to interview Robert Kirkman, and then Jeff kindly stepped in. But in general, like that show just starts off so angry and confused, and then he starts going to therapy and whatever, and then to see that stuff show up in Rick and Morty is amazing. To show a development arc, a similar arc for actual, for Rick and so on.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. And boy, does Dan Harmon like explaining that he's dating a 27-year-old in Erin McGathy. That is like her full name is my 27-year-old girlfriend, Erin McGathy.
Yeah.
And that's in 2012. That's 8 years ago.
I remember you and me deconstructing a particular episode where you were like, you suspected that Jeff was very, very angry with Erin McGathy. and we were deconstructing particular parts of their D&D game, and there's definitely a moment that it sounds like there was friction there.
Yeah. I mean, that's all kind of Zapruder after the fact. Trying
that's
to
all
like
fan
read
speculation from the outside. That's
speculation. But yeah, I think there was. I don't know. I mean, like, they're complicated, emotional people, and I think that's kind of part of the show. And it's interesting as podcast hosts to look at the idea of honesty with the audience, vulnerability about where you are in your own life. Because in any story, be it a podcast which is improvised or anything written, the only thing that you have as a connection to the audience is how the audience can relate to you. And so the only way that you can do that is by showing behavior or struggles that are similar, like that are something that people can look at and say like, oh, wow, like I recognize that behavior in my friend, my mom, my dad, my brother, myself. And that is a show, Harmontown is it was until its end, a show where there was always a beating heart to it. It was funny because Dan Harmon is this bottle rocket without a stick attached to it that's just going to go wherever he wants. But at the same time, either through himself or the reactions of those around him, you were kind of always like, oh, I see some of myself there.
Yeah. The oh doggone, I had a question queued up and I've lost it. You watched anything recently?
The Eurovision.
Oh, that's right.
Thing
And you got caught up on The Expanse. I fell off on The Expanse, and I'm embarrassed about it. But I feel like I'm at a place where it's not a lot of work because it's a very good show, but it's just enough work that I'm having a hard time. Like
where'd you get to? Where'd you drop off?
How many seasons are there now? There's 4.
4.
Okay.
4, yeah.
Either I think it's the middle of season 3 or. Yeah,
season 3 was the toughest slog for me. I mean, when they go into the little pocket universe.
Yeah, man, I don't even remember at this point. All I remember is that the last episode of The Expanse I watched was we were on a plane coming back from Canada. Bonnie and I were watching it together on a screen. I fell off, and when I woke up, Bonnie was 4 episodes ahead, and I had an assignment to do. And then it became homework, and I've not watched another episode in the intervening, I think, 3 years. 2 years, some amount of time.
Yeah, there are elements of the show that I'm not in love with, and there are decisions on where to go with the show that I think some are far more interesting to me than others. Like, the most interesting part of that show, without getting into specific spoilers, is when it's Game of Thrones, when it's a bunch of warring factions and houses, and our protagonists are they always happen to find themselves right at the borderland of some crazy thing, and they got to carry an egg to the next place, or else the Baron will loose his arrows or whatever. Like, whatever that shit is, I love that. I love all that. When it gets a little bit more into that sci-fi magic stuff, I'm a little less in love with it. And when it goes full sci-fi magic stuff, or now the plot revolves around the sci-fi magic stuff, I'm like, man, I would have rather one of them accidentally stepped on some dignitary's toe and then there was a shootout or some shit.
Yeah, man, I think you'll. Did you get the Apple TV Plus?
I did. I just canceled it. I got it for the Beastie Boys thing, and then I saw, good guy Apple. They make it really easy to see what you have subscribed to on your phone through the App Store. Also, good guy Apple makes you very easy to fucking just cancel that shit in one easy to read place. And so, like, I got it for the Beastie Boys thing, and then I was paying for it, and I was just like, I'll get it again when I want to see something.
Man, my biggest beef is, and we've already talked about this, is what a pain in the ass they make it to watch on through a browser on a big screen. It's like, hey, is it you? What's your password? Is it really you? I'm gonna, say it's you on your phone. And then you say, yes, it's via your phone. And then it's like, is it really you? I just sent you 6 digits that you got to verify. And it's like, all right, I'll let you watch on your computer. But you got to check this box if you ever want to watch anything else on here again. And then, but I'm glad I went through that process. I think you'll really dig Greyhound. I mean, it's just a straight up Battlestar Galactica episode.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm pumped to see it. Ooh, I'll tell you something I did watch. Us.
Oh, did we make the cut?
We did.
I got saw a text or a tweet from Meryl Barr, who said that Tijuana Jackson Purpose Over Prison made the top 10 on iTunes for comedies.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. No, it's a fucking dude. A big shout out to Romney. What an achievement. That motherfucker, he did it, dude. He made himself a movie. Like, that movie looks like it costs fucking several million more than it actually did. The performances are really fucking good. And indeed, me and you, man, just tweaking meth heads. It is very, very funny. I definitely rewatched it. I just kept going back and watching it over and over and over
We're
again.
in a movie. We're in a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I haven't.
You are selling it the entire time. You're just like itching the entire time. And I do a dramatic. I run my hands through my hair just to show how dramatic this scene is. It's pretty great. And also our buddy, our scene partner there is just they got him at, like, we did that scene a couple times, and for him it was like him giving us the, like, come on, man, like, and then us obviously lying so much that he starts laughing at us because we're fucked if we don't tell him the truth. And they just cut right in at him having a blast with these fucking junkies.
Oh, that's great.
I thought which was just great.
No, that's awesome. I can't wait. We were shooting all weekend, and then I did get a little bit of time off last night, and I felt like it was going to be my only window for a little bit, so I went and visited my parents. And I mentioned earlier, you know, how
Mom wanted a hug.
Yeah, Mom. I was like, Psh, Mom tried to hug me. What's up with that?
Yeah.
And you know, it's just so terrifying, you know, because, you know, Mom's 70, and as I said earlier, that, you know, the odds of surviving COVID at 70, you have better odds surviving a climb to Everest. And it's like,
Yeah.
and it's so hard because Mom just wants a hug, and, you know, she's also. Now that it's a political thing, that, you know,
Did you know that
so and so got it and it was nothing and blah blah blah. And
well, you know, I read that in Austria they've cured it with cheese.
by the way, that's not an impression of my mom, I'm hoping.
No, it's not an impression of your mom. No, that's oh my God. It's like the most disheartening thing on the planet just to realize that it's like a literal death cloud. A literal death cloud has rolled the world over. There's no part of the world that hasn't been affected by it on some level. And yes, some people had death cloud nets up, and other people, there's not enough death cloud net material to make one big enough for the entire country. And there was a place where the death cloud was made. And maybe we could have had more information from them, and they should bear responsibility. But not even here can we unite on, like, hey, can we just agree that there is a death cloud, and we should please come on, let's just really work together.
The part I had a moment, and you will understand the significance of this moment, because I mean, I think you'll really understand how powerful a moment it is, because I thought about that moment, and my parents are responsible. They wear masks when they go out and all that stuff. Mom wanted a hug, right? And they happen to be very right leaning. I you know. My dad listens to Rush Limbaugh while watching Fox News. Not an exaggeration.
At the same damn time.
And it's fine, you know. But I had the thought, you know, this whole decision to make this a political thing was not a GOP decision. I mean, this was a one person who's very good at dividing people decision to make it a thing.
Oh no, I think it's an election year thing. I mean, we were fucked the moment this happened during an election year.
Well,
Like-
they could have. I mean, I don't know. Heaton had the right idea. I'm probably stealing from a future podcast or whatever, but he was saying Trump should have gotten out in front. Should have had big old red masks that says "Make America healthy always," and and said we Republicans believe in science, unlike the blue team. But instead, you went the opposite way, and I don't know. I felt a level like now that it's political, I'm so bummed that for the first time I had a fleeting thought of not voting third party. It was an incredible moment. I was very frustrated.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think that, I don't know. I mean, we can get into the full politics deep dive on it, but
And by the way, if
in
anybody is on one
opinion,
side or the other, look, we ain't got a dog in the fight. I'm just, you know, we just think it's a bummer.
My main point is the system is set up as such. Like, I am of the belief that Trump became the president because of the system, not because Trump
Because he
necessarily
broke
was
the system or anything.
Yeah, no, it was like we kept incentivizing divisiveness and divisiveness and divisiveness and divisiveness. And guess what? Like, if the setting was going to be exactly how divisive you could be, you fucking found like your kung fu was not strong enough in the political world. You had to find a guy that's literally been doing this in the entertainment world, in the gossip, in the New York gossip world forever. And that system at a point of an election year is just not there to breed harmony.
Yeah.
Like, nobody profits off harmony, and nobody was ever going to. And even if Donald Trump acted in a way that was far more coherent from the very beginning, there would have been reasons why it was a fuck up. And it was, I mean, like, I just refuse to believe there would be a world that there's any universe in if I were to span the multiverse that covers every conceivable possible universe, I don't think I would find a single one in which MSN that Rachel Maddow is like, thanks to the great leadership of President Trump, like, we're surviving. Like, I just don't think that was ever going.
I guess as you're saying it, I realized how ridiculous my hope was, because it's like it's like a Rule 34 of politics. If it exists, there can be a red side and a blue side of it. You know, like that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and evolution. You know, vaccines. Cars. But like, literally, the only thing that we're unified on is that we all hate our cable provider, because we only have one.
Comcast.
Yeah.
Fuck that. That's the only people that we can all unite on. But the rest of it is like, I mean, and honestly, it's not even necessarily the political, the current kind of political divide that we have. It's more just kind of like globally, like the site, like that we're not in this moment of like, for our brothers and sisters, like, let's make sure that we do it for them, that we do it for like our shared humanity, and let's make sure that the hungry are fed. It's nothing but anxiety and nothing but anger and nothing but disappointment, and I can understand all of it, but it definitely is like shared trauma in the past has often stunned us, and I guess that may be the problem here, is that we never got this was the frog in the pot, not realizing that the water was boiling, where, like, you know, 9/11 or Kennedy getting killed was just like a punch in the nuts,
right? Really
hard. And you're like, fuck, we all got punched. Even the women are like, I didn't know that this was what it felt like. This is awful. And now it's like, no, this is like, your nuts are like getting squeezed.
It's like a graze,
like a
gentle
tighter,
grazing.
Yeah.
By the way,
it happens every day, and it's like, oh wow, this is fucking annoying and awful, but we all react to it differently.
If you'll forgive me a 30-second Terrier indulgence, Jalen Jade said the current situation is proof that libertarianism doesn't work. People aren't being responsible. Quick correction: we are in this situation specifically because of government monopoly. FDA declared that only, like, there were tests ready to go. We could have been testing. They were already developed in Europe. They were already developed overseas. We could have been on the ground and running, but the FDA declared, no, only one test will be allowed. It will be the CDC's test. And then the CDC fucked up the test, setting us back months. We are literally
Fucked
in
up the test. Fuck it up. Now you COVID tested.
like we are literally in this situation because of government monopolistic control. Also, let me remind you that everybody was already closing. NBA had already canceled. South by Southwest had already canceled, all before anybody whispered government regulation on any of that stuff. It's a case of somebody finding a parade and jumping in front of it and calling them a leader. I'll have none of that.
Yeah, like, look, the one thing I will say is that I don't know exactly how much better anything could have gone. I mean, I think that there were mistakes that were made, but America is such a fucking weird country. It's fucking gigantic. We can't shut off our borders to lock shit down. We don't have any real state lines that like we can enforce.
Well, and we want things to be federal and big, but like very clearly, the problems of New York City were not the problems of Reno, Nevada. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's I certainly, obviously, look, we are at a point of reckoning because it's an election year and we are less than 100 days from there being a moment where everybody's going to decide on the direction of the country. And this is going to factor heavily into it. So I don't want to take anybody's opinion on exactly how that should go in any kind of way. But I will say, if you were to put this in the fucking danger room, and now instead of there being fucking lasers and buzzsaws, you're literally just playing President Simulator, and you start on, March 1st or whatever, like at the point where things really start going south in Italy, and you're like, oh shit, this is not just some fucking weird thing that kills a bunch of people in China, but they mostly got under control, and as long as we don't let people in from China, then we're fine. This is like a for real global pandemic. I don't think that there's a step-by-step that like you can say like, oh, I nailed it. I went 100%. Coronavirus never took hold in the United States. Even The Atlantic had a big piece today about how we failed or whatever. And like half the shit that's in there is like, because of chronic underfunding of all these things that have been happening for 40 years. And it's like, all right, yeah, I'm down to buy that. But also it's like, that means we've been driving this car without brakes for a fucking while. And it turns out we hit a hairpin turn.
What's the latest guess on VP picks for Biden?
Kamala. I'm
Really?
I'm 100% on Kamala. I've been on Kamala for months.
Maybe we could check the betting markets. What's that?
She's been the prohibitive favorite. Predicted is one of them. She's been the prohibitive favorite. I think that there's a reason why she's the prohibitive favorite. Mostly because Biden is not running a particularly aggressive or creative campaign. He is running a fairly conservative campaign, and if you understand what they want to do is recreate the idea of Obama and Biden, but now Biden is
Harris
the sensei.
Harris is cranking up.
Yeah, and even then, the ones below her have totally reshuffled. Like it became pretty clear, and this is partly why I think it's still Kamala's definitely going to be the pick, is that all the people that came up behind her were all other women of color.
Yeah.
Like, and which means that they're trying to unseat her. It's not like it's Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
There obviously is this idea of
what caused this uptick in July 2020 where Clinton went from 0 to, I guess
Susan Rice.
Okay.
Susan Rice.
What caused that?
I think Kamala Harris became very clear that she was going to win. And so it's like, all right, if you get such a hard on for a woman of color that evokes Obama, how about this woman that was a part of the Obama administration and is a woman of color and is great on television. And so that's Susan Rice. The problem is that one of the times she was great on television was when she was defending the Benghazi attack because of the YouTube video. Which it's like, look, if you want to make Benghazi a 2020 issue, then you can certainly pick Susan Rice, because I'll guarantee you this, the Republicans will never get tired talking about Benghazi.
Yeah. Also, by the way, a design disaster. Look at this design. Clinton, very clearly the same color as this line, and then it turns out to be Rice, who's down here. Yeah. But then again, it doesn't look like it was designed to go exactly mainstream.
Well, I think that there's just been a lot, like, because theoretically you would pick, like, there'd be like 2 or 3 for real people, and everybody else would be kind of around the baseline. But Kamala's been the presumptive pick for so fucking long, and now it's like, first it was like, oh well, maybe the governor of that woman from Michigan, the governor of Michigan, maybe she's going to do it. No. And then it became, at a certain point, it just became clear, black woman. This is going to be a black woman. And so bring out the people that fit that demo. And I think to try to unseat Kamala, and no one's really fit that bill, including Karen Bass, who, like, the first time that I've totally seen what I believe to be the Kamala Harris forces come out and fire fucking torpedoes with, like, stories that they planted was this lady, Karen Bass, who is from California. She gets floated as, like, oh, progressives kind of like her, and the people that hate Kamala Harris are gathering around Karen Bass. Bop, bop. Within 24 hours, Karen Bass went to Cuba, was a fan of Fidel Castro, and was, like, in Revolution Square to listen to him. And she opened a Scientology center in LA in, like, 2010. And that happened within, like, fucking 20 minutes. This is, like, the shit I love about politics, is when it's like, nope, fucking release the hounds, execute Order 66, go fucking burn this lady. And, like, you can probably even see it on that tracker, that there's one spike and then it's grand opening, grand closing.
Wait, this was when?
Look for Karen Bass.
Bass is here.
Yeah. So see that at the very end, you see that little,
like a big old spike, and then
grand opening, grand closing.
Yep. Okay, we have to end on a happy note. We have 5 minutes. What's something you're super happy about?
Oh man, I'm getting close to the final phase of a project that people will like, that I don't want to talk about, but that's been a lot of what I've been working on, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy with where we are in that process.
Okay. I am happy that it's going to be a busy month, man. We're shooting non-stop for a month. I'm happy that people are getting the mystery boxes at scamstuff.com. People really seem to dig the idea. Like, they've always done well, but when we mentioned that they're specifically themed about modern rogue stuff, so it's going to be at least 10 items in there at scamstuff.com, and it's the biggest release of anything we've ever done ever. And
wow,
like, bigger than any Black Friday, bigger than anything. And so now all of a sudden we're doing a bit of scrambling, trying to figure out, like, okay, we knew for sure we could get our hands on X number of these.
Yeah.
How about X times 3 of these? Making some phone calls, finding out, and also, like, okay, if we run out of unit Y, what's a comparable thing that we could put in there? But man, I'm really, really stoked about it. In fact, David launched the first, he's calling them Mystery Mondays. He's sending out emails because we want to head off people saying, hey, when's the thing coming? Those emails coming constantly. Yeah. So he is every Monday going to say, hey, here's where we're at. Here's where we are in the process. Here's the next milestone. If you don't want these emails, feel free to unsubscribe. but please don't unsubscribe and then keep hitting me asking me when it's going to be there.
I always like to think of it as there are some people that are very anxious. There are some people, especially when it comes to internet stuff, where they just want to know exactly where their money is and whether or not you're fucking them and taking their money without giving them what they paid for, and just persistent contact. Like
Yes.
if you just never be too in touch with people if they want it. Like they will always be happy.
And part of that is like in the box, the experience of opening the box and going through everything. We have to think through. It's like there can never be a single moment, or there should never be a single moment when anybody grabs something and says, "What's this?" or "Why is this in here?" And then it's on them to go like look up, and on the 4th paragraph of the letter it mentions that's a thing that does this. It's like, no, you make it easy. And it's like if we put a magic thing in there, because you know how magic things are. It's like you see the video and then you find out that the whole trick is done with this flap of a card, right? So and magicians aren't the best at packaging their stuff. So it's like you see the video, you order it, and then it's like, congratulations, here's a flap of a card and a URL. It's like I was saying today, it's like if we have anything like that in there, we put it in an envelope that says absolutely do not open this until you've watched this video at this very easy to type URL. And then so then you know that what you're getting is this magical experience that happens to be done with a flap of a card.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, it's not just like, well, that sucks. And then you're like, what the fuck? I thought I was being sold a miracle. And you're like, no, the miracle is in your hands.
Exactly. And by the way, there's not a flap. I don't think there's a flap of a card in there. I'm trying to speak in magic codes.
Well, so are you, are people going to know what's in the, I mean, I guess it is a mystery box, so you want to keep it
we
mystery,
might,
right?
Well, we've revealed that there'll be at least 10 items, and there'll be, since it's Mono Rogue themed, there'll be items for Gentleman, Warrior, and Scoundrel. Safe to say there'll probably be something magic-y in there. There'll probably be something stabby in there. Probably something for the Gentleman in there. And I think
fake
that's
pregnancy test.
Where you get a free hug from a doctor. Okay, all right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Dude, this week, tomorrow's Tuesday, so we're doing Night Attack, so no happy hour.
No happy hour tomorrow, yeah.
Wednesday, you and I will have to talk about whether or not I'll be available because of shooting things. We'll figure out on Wednesday. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for showing up as I do this thing right here. Woo, I did it.
See ya.
Packets. We need packets.
Yeah, I need some packets, man.
Got them packets.